One of my most commented on and watched videos has been of flight planning, a Vision Jet flight from Denver Centennial to Scottsdale, Arizona. And this is what this video is all about. I flew from the Chicago Executive Airport out to the Bridgeport, Connecticut Airport. And the flight planning itself, it wasn't very straightforward. It was kind of complicated. It was low IFR. We had to break the trip into a stop. And I'm going to walk through in the flight planning process exactly what I was thinking and how I came to all the conclusions that I did. So I hope you enjoy that. It's pretty detailed, and I literally just picked up the camera and my phone and just started filming what I was doing. So there's no fluff to it. So it's just pure flight planning and all. Make sure you watch the video all the way to the end because there was a little twist in the plot and ended up having a better outcome than what was being planned for. So really excited about that. There's a little Vision Jet footage at the very end for you as well, but I hope you enjoy it. Again, no fluff in this video. It's literally me picking up my phone and filming what I was doing. So if you find value out of this, please like and subscribe. Other than that, here we go into Vision Jet flight planning. Okay, so I'm just sitting here with the camera in front of this screen here. And this is, again, on my Apple MacBook Air. I've got the new 13-inch, really light and thin for those of you who travel. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this. We're going to be departing out of the Chicago Executive Airport tomorrow morning here. So that's KPWK. And we're going to have a great little flight. So the first thing I always try to do is I just put the airport in over here in our flight planning area. I'm going to go from KPWK to KBDR, which is Bridgeport, Connecticut. I'm going to check out our departure, which is going to be Friday the 29th. And we're going to be leaving at 9 a.m. All right, cool. There we go. So I literally just start here with a nice line that's drawn all the way across. I just start there and I start looking. And I can see that, hey, right now in Chicago, we see a whole bunch of green dots. I have the flight category set right now, and TFRs and the radar. And I have the aeronautical map. Those are the three things that I have. And what this allows us to do, let me put KBDR back up. I just start looking at the trends. What's going on? I can see all the way back here in the Midwest that there's nothing on the radar, it looks like, and it looks like it's all green. So that's good. So I'm not expecting much weather 12 hours or a little over 12 hours from now in Chicago. But if I look smack dab in the middle of the route here, I can see, okay, over Ohio, there's a system, and I'm guessing that in 12 hours, 18 hours time, that's going to be moving over. That's just my initial gut feeling without taking a look at anything. So that really makes me trigger and look at an alternate requirement for Bridgeport. Great. So the next thing that I'll actually do is immediately seeing that, I'm going to click on Bridgeport here and look at the weather. So this really triggered me to go ahead and dive deep into this right off the bat before planning an actual route. Okay, right now they're showing VFR, that's good, but let's take a look at the TAF. Okay, we've got a lot of colors here. So anytime we see any type of multiple lines for a TAF or anything like that, where you have red or green, or trending from green to red and pink, that means that, all right, we're gonna have to dig into that and see what's gonna go on. But looks like just on here, without really dissecting the times, I see a low IFR, I see a regular IFR, I see a low IFR, and then regular IFR, which is still, rather low. So I'm starting to immediately think alternates. I'm immediately starting to think fuel. I'm immediately starting to think landing performance for the aircraft based on heavy rain showers. So anyway, we're gonna have to take a look at that and start to see what we've got. Okay. Doesn't necessarily mean that this flight is not doable, but it also means that we have some extra considerations that we're going to have to take a look at. So I never really think that a flight is not able to be completed. I always think of how can I complete this trip, and let's figure out how to do that. So just on first glance, making it there nonstop, yeah, I'm starting to have a little concern around that, but let's just start to see. So 303 Golf Whiskey, that's a relatively new G2 Plus Vision Jet. We're gonna try to aim at 31,000 feet for an optimum altitude, and we're gonna leave at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So, our straight line distance, 666, that's not good. So let's just change that up here, and that will automatically change if we were to see the different routes here. So this was recommended. The Duffy, Hack, Doxy, Sosic. I'm starting to look to see if this is any type of consistency as we go through. So Duffy is here. Duffy was cleared. There's another Duffy. I see a couple E-bakes, but this one looks like it's going to be a winner here. So we're going to update that to 31,000 feet, and we can start to see our route has changed just a little bit as we start to come in. So this makes sense. New York is going to have an arrival. The other thing I'm going to really think about, I'm going to see who controls Bridgeport. So this is right on the edge of New York's airspace. So another thing, in addition to alternates and fuel and landing performance, I'm going to start to think about air traffic control delays. It's going to make a big difference who's there. So if it's New York approach, we're going to be, be prepared for any type of delay. The way that I'm going to check that out is to start to see in the airport frequency tab of ForeFlight. Okay, there it is, New York approach. So that if we experience any type of delay due to traffic saturation and low weather for New York approach, I'm starting to think that. I might come up with, let's see over here at New Haven, see where the cutoff is for New York approach, and let's see what that is. New York approach and departure, we've got that. That sort of makes sense. It's not too far away. Let's see what GON, that's Groton, Connecticut. Let's see who controls them. Boston Center, clearance delivery, Providence approach. So somewhere in here is a cutoff from New York approaches airspace to Providence approaches airspace, which is a Class C. That could make a big difference if we need to land there, and the customer might need to drive over here to Bridgeport. So we've got some ideas here. Another thing is that we could land at Groton, wait out some storms or weather, and then reposition. So any type of air traffic control delay, I might be expecting that with New York approach. We can come up here to Waterbury and just start to see what that is, and that's still New York approach. So we go up to Hartford. I know that will be Bradley approach. So there's right in here, there's a lot of cluster of airports, and if we have any type of flow delay getting into Bridgeport because New York approach is there, I can choose any one of these, like Groton, maybe Hartford, get ourselves about 98% of the way there, and then that gives us options to either Uber or car or whatever we need to do in order to get over to Bridgeport. So that's at least going through my head. Let's zoom back out and actually take a look at what we have going on here. So I see a weather disturbance system here. That's 30,000 feet. The Vision Jet's top ceiling is at 31,000 feet. So we're gonna have to, maybe weave around a few of these top cells. And this is, right now, so that's gonna be moved, but I don't think that that's gonna build much more. It's getting a little late in the thunder head season. So I wouldn't expect that 30,000 feet to get much higher, but we'll definitely have some weather to contend with as we get out of here. Okay, all right, so let's take a look. The first thing I'm gonna be doing is, I feel comfortable with this. I see an arrival procedure. I see our fixes to get out of Chicago executive here, Duffy, Hack, Doxy. I just know that from experience, but the neat thing about Chicago Approach, how Chicago Executive, I can just show you that there are a few departure procedures, but there's basically there to go south out of Chicago. So George 05 basically sets us up where we're going south. Really not far. Roberts, that's like in Champaign, Illinois. All this stuff is in central Illinois. So we're not going south. The other one, the other departure procedure as well, the George 05 goes south as well. So Roberts, Becky, Arlen, basically almost in the same area, just sort of fans it out, helps you get over top of O'Hare, but not too terrible here. All right. Now, let's go ahead and see what we can do next. Okay, so what I want to do next here is actually dive into some of the fuel planning. And this is going to be important. So right now, with a few different people, so we have our route, I'm going to take a look at some of our initial flight statistics, which is showing that this flight is going to be a distance of 600 and almost 700 miles. It's going to take 170 gallons of fuel. Our estimated time en route is just under 2.5 hours. So we're going to land at about 12:30, just under 12:30 tomorrow. So let's take a look. Now it's time to click the Send a Flights button, and this is going to help us dive into a few things. First thing is that we're going to need to say that we're going to have at least 3 people. Our average weight's going to be 190 pounds. Our cargo is going to be about 40 pounds total. And I want to see here the fuel policy. I can put whatever fuel policy I want in, meaning that I can say, hey, I've got 200 gallons of fuel on board. I want to know what the minimum fuel is to complete this flight. I need to know the maximum fuel that I can carry, meaning that if the fuel was way too expensive and you want to tanker some around, you could see how much fuel you could absolutely carry, what your landing fuel would be. So you can say, hey, I want to land with 90 gallons of gas. You could select that, or you could say, hey, I want to hold extra fuel as I go. But I always like to start here. What is the minimum fuel I absolutely need to have? I come over here and I change my reserve fuel to about 70 gallons. I definitely plan for that because New York Approach is going to get us descending early. So I want to make sure that I have a little bit more. I want to actually probably say that's 75, especially with low weather. I'm okay on a nice day where I might not need an alternate to say that I need 75 gallons, but already right now I'm carrying 250 gallons to minimally do this without an alternate already. It's gonna be tight. Okay, so let's see here, alternates. I can go ahead and start looking around and start to see. So on the actual web, on the iPad version of this, we can zoom in and start to see where we can select an alternate. Now, I don't know, let's check out White Plains, for example. Come over here and see what's going on. All right, so we have to abide by either the 602 or the 802 alternate filing minimums. And let's see, we're gonna be landing at 12:30 tomorrow. 602, I'm sure they have an ILS, but it's going to be heavy rain tomorrow all the way and trending to IFR, right around there. So whenever I see multiple lines and multiple colors in a TAF like that, I don't necessarily trust this. This is probably going to change a little bit, but right now, just looking at that, okay, legally, we could probably get by with White Plains being our alternate, but it's just we're really pushing this 602 since we're landing at 12:30, and this temporary version shows that we're landing it's going to be low IFR and improving from 1 mile visibility and 400 feet overcast. So I don't like that. Let's see over here. What does Groton look like? So things about Groton that I would potentially like without looking at their weather yet. It's a Class D. It is in a different approaches airspace. So it's in Providence approaches airspace. So that means that it should be looking a little bit better. And look at what the TAF does. A little bit nicer here. So tomorrow at 10 a.m., it's going to be 5 miles, 800, and light rain and mist. Okay, so it's going to basically hold there all day. So let's see what kind of approaches that they have, and we will see what we've got. So it looks like, okay, they have an ILS. What were the winds going to be at? TAF was going to be 050 at 13. So it looks like the prevailing winds will have us be able to shoot an ILS. Let's see what the minimums are for this. So this gets us down to 200.5, so that's good. So far, kind of liking Groton as an alternate, and we'll see if we can just go over here and see what happens. So over the further east we go, it looks like it's going to be marginal VFR. How about Bradley, just in case, so that we can see what's going on up there? All right, that's even better. Looks green and marginal VFR as we go. So I probably would use, maybe plan for Groton as an alternate, because it legally be able to do it, easy to shoot over here to Bridgeport, right here. But we can also probably get easily down from Bradley. So I'm actually going to change my mind. I'm going to take Bradley and get ourselves down there as our alternate. So let's go back to our flights. Come over here to KBDL. All right, that's going to be an alternate. All right, max ramp weight exceeded by 119 pounds. Let's view the air. All right, max takeoff weight exceeded by 119 pounds. Minimum fuel that we need. So we need to carry at least 293 gallons. The max that we can carry is 293 pounds. We are already overweight because of our passengers. So this one's going to be really tough, guys, in order to do nonstop. So what we might actually have to do is break this into 2 flights in order to do this. It'll actually feel good to get this done in 2 flights, because we can fill up and get more gas. But this is going to be kind of interesting. So let's see here. I'm going to come back and let's see what's in the middle here. All right, we've got like Ithaca, New York. Let's see what that looks like. We'll zoom in. And start to see TAF. Okay, so not too bad. It's just going to be some marginal VFR. So we're going to have to start breaking this down and probably plan this into 2 different flights. So we're going to take it from there. Let's see here, Elmira. Let's see, all FBOs. One thing I want to just double check to see is what the fuel price is at Ithaca. And one thing that we can look for is what we call CAA, which is a fuel discount program. And maybe there's a spot here, since we're not necessarily married to a particular spot, maybe we can find something that has CAA around here and everything. So normally you can actually click on, you'll be able to see like a little CAA flag here. So let's see. Come back over here, Elmira, check it out. There's an app that you can download and be able to see it. Yeah, so we've got that. So I'm going to take a look and gander here as we drive around and try to find maybe a discounted fuel price, since we need to tanker up. But this feels like a good spot to somewhere right around here to grab some fuel and all. If not, we're just going to go ahead and maybe pick Ithaca or Elmira. and just grab fuel there, do a quick turn, and be out. So let's pause, let's start this over, and why don't you go ahead and check out the other video, and we're gonna see breaking this flight into two, so that way we can tanker some gas, break it down, and now we're gonna be able to have as much time as we need to in the New York area where it's gonna be low IFR, see if we can break this into a nice flight. So do you remember that video that I was gonna make and it filmed going from Chicago to Ithaca, New York, and then to Bridgeport, Connecticut? Well, scratch that. We got a whole new plan. On the way to dinner this evening, I ended up calling the passenger that we were flying. So all the planning work that we ended up doing together here, on the way, I called him and said, hey, just as a heads up, tomorrow our flight, we're gonna need to do this in two different legs. We don't have enough fuel to carry this to be able to go nonstop, so we have to stop, grab fuel, and then be able to give ourselves plenty of options for the alternates and low IFR and some contingencies and everything like that. So, when I was coming home from dinner, I was gonna sit down and plan both these flights and create the video. Well, guess what happened? Passenger said, hey, let's just go the next day on Saturday. We're in no hurry, we're very flexible, and that gives us a much better shot, and most importantly, it gives them a better experience as well. They're not in a hotel with heavy rain and all that. So anyway, it's a good decision. So I'm really excited about that. But this is just something that I've learned. Try to empower passengers with options when you have them. Create them. Don't just sit there and say, hey, we're not going, we can't do it. Say X, Y, and Z. There's different ways that we can complete this trip. It might not be in one flight. Here's some alternatives. We can go another time, we can delay, we can do whatever we need to. So that was just a fun example of that. I'm just glad that was the outcome. Because believe me, I have had so many of my own planning snafus, or I would get lazy and plan maybe an hour right before we're going to fly, and there's some TFR or some bad weather or some type of thing that, some big obstacle that we had to work around. And the sooner it was the departure time, the bigger that problem became, and all. So I'm just happy to have that be our outcome. We'll plan this flight on tomorrow night, which would be Friday night, going all the way out, see what's different and what we have to think about. But anyway, good outcome for this evening. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, comment if you like or would change anything that I do. There's about 1,000 ways to skin a cat, and I get that. And that, have a great night, and we'll see you later. We did it. We're in Bridgeport. It was an awesome flight. This was a great machine to fly. 303 Golf Whiskey, nailed it. Vision Jet made it really sweet, but boy, am I glad we came here on Saturday. It was and delayed by a day. Even some of the taxiways were still flooded here from all the rain. So there was a system that just sort of hung out and spun around here. You could see some flooding in fields and streets still on short final while we were coming into land. So anyway, it really worked out well. We're here, got to shoot a nice little approach, and time to head home. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll talk to you soon.